it's Rebecca and today is another book review day. But before I share my book review with you, I just want to share my beach with you. Today is such a beautiful day that I thought the only place I can do a book review is down at the beach. So Lily and I have come for a walk. I don't know if you can see her, she's just there. And it is absolutely beautiful. Have a look for yourself. It may not be the Bahamas or it may not be the Mediterranean, but it is beautiful, and I'm so glad that I live somewhere like this because it's quiet and it's peaceful, and yeah, what more could you want? So, like I said, this is another book review day, and I have been reading MASH by Richard Hooker. So I will read you the blurb and then talk to you about the book. The doctors and nurses who worked in the Mobile Army Surgical Hospitals, MASH, during the Korean War were well trained, dedicated and pushed to the brink. And they were young, too young to be doing what they had to do. As Richard Hooker writes in the foreword, a few flipped their lids, but most of them just raised hell in a variety of ways and degrees. Meet the true life heroes and lunatics who made up the 4077th MASH, such as immortals as Hawkeye and Trapper John, Hot Lips Houlihan, Frank Burns and Radar O'Reilly. Experience the martini-laced mornings, the sexual escapades and the daily hijinks that flew in the face of authority. But this is also a story of hard work and skill in the face of enormous pressure and odds. Here is where it all began, the novel that made MASH a legend. So, this is the book that started off the TV series franchise MASH that I really like it. I think it's so good, so funny. This, not so much. And I know I've said so many times you can't compare the books to the films or the TV series, but I went into reading this with the MASH television series in my head. I mean, I've got the DVDs, it's shown on repeats on the television, and I do watch it at least one episode a day, just because it's on the telly, it's on in the background. Whoever wrote the screenplay just took the names and the situation, I think, from this book, because it is very dull. And sadly, because I had the MASH television programme going around in my head, I kept thinking, that character's not like that, that's not what they'd do, that's not what they'd say. So this is set in the Korean War, and it is about a mobile army surgical hospital which basically fixes up any casualties as a result of the war. So anyone that's been shot at or blown up by bombs or whatever, they try and patch them up so that they can kind of carry on. And the main characters in this book are Hawkeye and Duke, and they're two surgeons that go to this hospital to obviously try to fix up all the soldiers so that they can go back into fighting. And it's a horrible place, a horrible situation. There's absolutely no mod cons, nothing of any worth or substance. It's all dirty and horrible, and the living quarters are horrible and the food is horrible, and they just try to get through it as best they can. And so they pull pranks on other people at the unit. They drink a lot. They do whatever they can to make each day slightly more bearable and slightly more, I wouldn't say enjoyable, but they just need things to get through. And it's so different from their life back home in the States, and they just want to go home. They want to be back with their families. They want to not have to be woken up in the middle of the night because there's a whole lot of casualties that have come in. And although I can't say I enjoyed the book, I guess it shows a more realistic take of the war and what these people had to go through, because it was quite dull. And the war and being there must have been extremely dull. And that's something that isn't always brought to light in the television programme, because it's all full of hijinks and jokes and people being silly. But then I guess that's their way of dealing with it. So sadly, I didn't enjoy this. This is a book that I'd been wanting to read for a while and hadn't been able to get hold of, and then I found a copy at the library. And yeah, like I say, the television programme has infused itself in my brain so much that I just couldn't get past the differences in the characters here. I mean, none of the characters were likeable. They were all quite nasty. And I didn't like that. I didn't like, even Father Mulcahy, who in the television programme is so mild and calm and lovely. In here, he just hasn't got a likeable character. Hawkeye is extremely nasty. Radar isn't as cute and funny as he is in the programme. Frank is only in it for one chapter. Apologies if you don't know what I'm talking about if you've never seen the programme. Go and watch the programme, not so much the book. So, sadly, this isn't one I'm going to be recommending, because the television programme is just so powerful and so in your face that this is just very... nah. I can't even think of a word to describe it, but I didn't enjoy it, sadly. So if you'd like to hear any of my other book reviews, then please subscribe to my channel. I put new videos out every time I've read a book and every time I do anything kind of bookish or writerly. So if you're interested in any of those things, then please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon. Have a good day.